Good afternoon, you guys. So, welcome back to my channel. This is the second time I'm trying to record this video because the first one was way too long. So, I'm going to try to get it in within the time frame this time and do a better job. So, as I stated before in some of my videos, I had some requests to do some tutorials, and one of those that was requested a lot was to show you guys how I make my charms. It's pretty easy. I don't really do any really special things, but I'm just going to show you how I make my charms, and I'm going to talk to you about some of the supplies I use and things like that. So, as I said, I'm working on this journal, which is nearly finished. It's a prayer journal, and so I figured it would be perfect to just show you how I'm starting the charm for this. So I'm going to go through some of the supplies now that you guys may want to use. These are just things that I use. Of course, there's all sorts of tools and things like that. First of all, I really enjoy using these brads by Tim Holtz because they have this large ring on them, and I like these because the ring lays downward, and that's always good to have because your charm will hang better when you have these rings that hang down that way. And so to add this onto the spine, all I do is take a hole punch or my crocodile, and I punch a small hole in not the very top but the top of the spine. And then I just push the brad through, and then I'll add some trim here to cover the back side of it up, and probably add a little bit of glue to keep that in place. And so that's how the charm hangs on. You don't need the brads. You can poke a hole and put an eyelet and just do it that way. Or you can poke a hole, put the eyelet, and add a large jump ring or anything like that. A wire even would work. But I found these on clearance, and they're just really great. They're really great. And plus it looks nice. And then I also have been using these Tim Holtz keychains. They're like a clasp closure on them. So you squeeze it to close, and then you squeeze it to open it back up. And in the first video that I tried to do, I created these 3 beaded charms for this charm, and I also added, because the Tim Holtz one comes with this chain attached to it with 2 large jump rings, but I like to make longer chains, and I like to make them full, and so I added an extra length of chain on here. And since the color scheme of this journal, I like to use metallic accents usually, and for this one it's silver. So all of the supplies and parts that I'm going to be using, I'm trying to keep them all silver so that the color scheme is still cohesive. So I've used the silver chain and this silver Tim Holtz clasp keychain. And so I'm going to move this out of the way. And I'm going to start off by showing you guys some of the supplies that I use. So first of all, the ring to hang on the spine, and some sort of keychain or ring with a chain attached. You might want to have some scissors handy. I keep my good little scissors, and then I also have these amazing Tim Holtz scissors that my friend April gave me for my birthday. I love these things. They cut like butter through everything. I use these needle nose pliers, and these right here have the rounded tips on them, which I'll show you the purpose for that soon. And these also have a wire cutter. You will need a wire cutter. And I also like to keep a pair of tweezers handy. These are my old beat up craft tweezers. These are great, sometimes better than the needle nose pliers for handling the much smaller or hard to get a hold of items. You're also going to need an assortment of jump rings. I use large, medium, and small. You're going to need some of these things, and I'm sorry, I cannot think of the name of these but they are basically little wired little thingies, and these are what you make the beaded charms out of. You're going to add the beads onto the wire, and so some of them have this little hoop on the end for hanging extra beads or charms, and then the others have this flat stopper end on them that's going to keep your beads from falling off. So I'm going to take a few of these out. Mostly I use the ones with the flat end, but I will also show you how to use the ones with the loop on the end. Okay, you're going to need beads, of course, and I have many beads. I've been collecting them for years and years. I used to make jewelry as well, and so I have quite a few things in my collection. The beads, I get them from everywhere. I love to go to Joann's and Hobby Lobby when they have sales. I know Michael's carries them as well, but I don't get the opportunity to go there as much because it's further away from me. And Walmart. Walmart has an excellent selection of beads, and so you're going to need some seed beads. They're great for separating, for filling in spaces, and they're also great for using as stoppers at the ends, and I'll show you that. I also really enjoy looking for these little packages of beads that Walmart has. You can see they're super cheap. Some are $1, some are 98 cents. And I'll show you the kinds of beads that come in here. They usually have a fantastic variety of glass beads, pretty little metal beads, and metal charms. And then I also buy strands of beads. So they come in these little paper things, and the strand will hang down. And stranded beads are great. You can find charms on strands. I love to go to Joann's when they have their 60% off sale on their beads, and try to pick up some extras there when I can. Also, Walmart carries these, any craft stores. Something else I like to add to my charms is little miniature vials or glass bottles. Here I have a few different sizes. These are by the company Artsy, and then I have these smaller ones from Tim Holtz. I think there's really no rules, so even the larger ones I think can look nice hanging down. And what I like to do with the jars is fill them with things like glitters. Uh-oh, avalanche. So I'll fill them with glitters, which always looks really pretty. You know, glitters look great on everything. And so it doesn't matter what kind you use. These little vials here, I think, come in like in 6 in a pack at the Dollar Tree. You can buy these big ones at craft stores, at Walmart. And so I like to fill them with glitters. I did add 2 of these bottles to the charm for the Garden Grimoire Journal. One had the glitter in it for fairy dust, and then the other I added some seeds for the garden, and also some teeny tiny leaves. Let's see what else. You may want to use baker's twine, or this, my mom got me these recently. It's just elastic string. You never know what you might want to use it for. And then I also like to use metal wires of different colors. You can find these in any craft or jewelry making sections of craft stores. I like to use the wire to wrap around the neck of the bottle when I add it to the charms. It's just easier that way for me. So I will take the wire and wrap it around the neck, create a loop with it so that I can hang it to the chain, and then add, you add whatever you want in the bottle. And then for the ones like these with the stoppers, I just add a little bit of glossy accents to seal it closed. Okay, and now I'm going to show you some of my beads and how I store them. I like to use these containers here, which I believe these were probably $2 to $3. You can find them also at Walmart or any craft store. Hobby Lobby has some too, I know. And so this one I like to keep. These are basically metal embellishments, but I also keep some charms in here for my journal making. just all different kinds. I've got tassels like these I picked up around Christmas time. I think they were probably for tree ornaments or crafting, but tassels are always fun to add to your charms. Got these medallions that you get in big packs for like $3 at Joann's. There's some resin pieces, some plastic pieces. I've got gears, metal and plastic. I've got all these little cute finds, random things that I found at the flea market. And even if a piece, if you really want to add it to your charm, let's say it doesn't have a loop. Like these scissors, you know, you can add a jump ring to the loop here on the handle of the scissors to hang it, excuse me, from your charm. But if it's something like this that doesn't have a loop on it, that's where you can use the wire or a string to tie it to it and attach it as a charm. I like to use these Tim Holtz pin nibs, and then also these Tim Holtz metal labels. You can hang these as charms as well as using as embellishments. I've got metal numbered charms and like these Tim Holtz skull and crossbones. All sorts of goodies in here that you can use anything. It's limitless. The rules, there are none. So even things like this butterfly came from a hair clip that I had years and years ago, and you can see there's no loop on it, so I could just take some elastic string or baker's twine and wrap it around. I can use some metal wire, wrap it around the body, so it looks like it's a part of it, and create a loop, and then I've got a charm. You know, you can do the same thing with these wooden pieces. And so that's that one. And then this is also how I store my beads. You can see I've already taken some out for this project, but I like to stay organized with them, and I try to organize all my beads because, you know, they're really easy to lose even in containers like this. So I found these really great little baggies at Tuesday Morning for 50 cents, and it's got 65 little bags in it, and I believe I've already gone through like 2 of these. But they're little plastic bags, which are also great for sending small pieces to people, by the way, in your Happy Meal and stuff. But it's got an adhesive strip. You just pull the paper back, fold the little flap down, and then you've got a nice little space to keep these little tiny items that you don't want to get lost. And so that's how I've organized my beads. In this container, I've got some metal beads, some of these special glass beads. I've got my supplies, lobster claws. These little hooks for jewelry making are also great for charms. I keep all my jump rings and such, and I like to have an assortment of these in different colors because I really like to match my charms to the color scheme of the journal. Like I said, it keeps it more cohesive, I believe, and if I'm using silver in a journal, I want to try to use all silver pieces. So in here I've just got an assortment of metal charms. These are the smaller ones. Like this is an earring that I can use as a charm, and these I recently found at Walmart in one of those little 98-cent bags. I've got larger ones in here. Here I keep my extra chains that I like to add on to my keychains for the charms to make them longer. And this really old canister, I've probably had this since I was a teenager. I keep old necklaces that I don't wear anymore that I use parts from. And here I keep my bead caps. I'll show you what they're used for in just a few minutes. All different colors. In this one, I just have all of my pearl beads. A bunch of these I bought, but a bunch was also gifted to me from my friend Kim. Thank you so much, Kim, because I love these pearl beads, and now I have them in so many different colors. I've got seed beads and glass beads, and like these here were a strand. This was a strand of beads that I purchased, and it had 4 different sizes, so I pulled them off the strand and separated them. Here I've got some wooden beads, and like these here, my mom gave me a pair of really old earrings, and so I deconstructed them and took the little wooden beads off so that I can use them for something else. Okay, so that's how I store them and keep them organized. And so here's the charm that I've started for this prayer journal. And like I said, I've already chosen some of the beads that I want to use. I really love these pearl beads. So I've got some turquoise, some like steel lavender, just like it's a lavender with a grayish undertone. I've got some white. Then I've got some of the glass beads that I got at Walmart, all different sizes and shapes. I've got these iridescent beads that I really love that I think will look fantastic with this journal. I've got some smaller pearl beads, some clear beads, and I'm using these for the small C beads. I've got some silver metal beads that are great accents. And then here I have chosen all of my silver bead caps. And then I've also got some metal flower and butterfly beads that I'm using. So that's the assortment of beads I've chosen for this project, and also I have picked out just a few charms that I will probably use. This is actually a wooden button that I got from my friend Priscilla. Here's a really pretty little, it looks like a stained glass window, a little butterfly that I got from April, and just some random little things, a little pink tassel. And this is actually, I think this is it's supposed to be a little ornament, like for one of those little tabletop Christmas trees. And I just found this in some random place and picked it up, and I think it'll be perfect as a charm. Yeah, I like to do that. If I'm in a parking lot at a store and I see a lost earring or something, I'll pick it up, take it home, clean it, and you know, something's been recycled instead of laying there to waste. So, like I said, I've already created 3 charms. These 2, I use the flat bottom one of these, and then this one is how you use the one with the loop on it. It's so that you can attach another charm or bead to the bottom, and see, it will dangle like so. So let's get started. I'm going to make a couple of these for you and just show you how I kind of do things. So with these, with the flat bottom, that is a stopper for your beads so that you can put your beads on here and they won't fall off. And some beads have holes that are too big for them, so what I like to do, what I usually do is take a seed bead, you know, because they're really small, and I'll put a seed bead at the bottom. And that's how I get it started. So let's make one with this iridescent bumpy bead. I really like that one. So I'm going to look through my bead caps and see which one I like for this one. I've got a few different kinds. And the reason why I like to use bead caps is, I'll show you. So here is a big round bead without a bead cap on it, without bead caps. I think that using the bead caps adds that extra special detail to the bead, and I think it makes it look nicer and more finished. But you don't have to use them, that's just my opinion, and like these are really large ones. So what I do is I try to find one that will fit the bead properly. I think these look good. So what you do is I've added my seed bead at the bottom, and now I'm going to add a bead cap, and you see it's curved like a concave lens, and you want to put the curved part up like so, so that when you add your bead, it's going to curve around the bottom of the bead. And so here is what the bead looks like with the bead caps around it. I really think it adds a more finished detail. Okay, And so I like to, for balance, what I normally do is add larger beads and such to the bottom of this wire. And then I'm really detail oriented, so I like to work in patterns as well. I'm just going to see what, yeah, okay, this one is much better. And so I like to work in patterns, in some sort of pattern when I make these beaded charms. And so I'm going to find some beads that I think match well with this statement, this statement bead. I like these. I think I like the teal ones better. So let's try one of these teal glass beads. Let's see how that looks. And these are all different shapes. Like here's a rectangular one. I don't really like that one. And see, since I added that seed bead at the bottom, I think I'm going to add another one here to continue that pattern. And then I'm going to add a smaller statement bead. Maybe this more. I'm not sure about that one either. So this is what I do. I just basically go through and see what works, what doesn't. So I don't really care for any of those. Let's maybe try one of these. Or maybe this one. So I just got these for this particular journal not too long ago. These are also Walmart beads. And they're so cheap, and they're really nice, and they're glass beads. I prefer to use glass beads. I think they are, because they're heavier, the dangles, I think, are much nicer, and I just really like working with glass beads. You don't have to. It's not necessary. You work with what you are most comfortable with. I think I'm liking this one much better. Okay? And actually, I think I'm going to add the darker teal seed beads to this. And see how that looks. See, like so. But I'm not really liking this too much. I think that this one needs to stay on its own. And so I'm going to show you what I do. So these are too long. I normally only use about maybe 3/5. And so that's where the wire cutters come in handy. So I'm going to, this is the finished beaded charm. I'm going to take my wire cutters and go down until I'm about maybe 1/4 of an inch, maybe a bit smaller, and I'm going to snip the end off. Well, if I can, there we go. And so it's going to leave about this much space. And then what I'm going to do is, as I was telling you earlier, these are specifically made for this purpose. See how they are completely rounded on the ends? They are made for making loops. So I'm going to hold on to the very end of this wire. Whoops. And then I'm just going to twist it around, and I'm holding the beads that are on the wire, I'm holding them so that they are all the way down to the bottom, because you want to get them, you want it to hold them down well enough. And so I'm making a loop like so, and then I'm just going to pinch it together gently. And that's it. That is a finished beaded charm. And then you want to take one of your jump rings. I like to use the smaller size for the beaded charms, and the larger ones I like to use for larger items. So I'm going to open the jump ring because you can see it's closed. Just pinch it and pull. And then I'm going to run the jump ring through the loop that I just made. And see, now we've added that jump ring, we can hang this charm onto our chain. So I'm going to pick a place on my chain to hang it. And I may move these around, you know, once I start filling up the chain with the charms and the beaded charms and such, I can move them around and adjust them so that they are more balanced. So I just add it to the chain, close the jump ring back, and there I've added another charm to my charm. Okay, so let's do another. I'm just going to do 2 more really quickly before my time runs out. Since I have so many large ones, let's do one with some smaller beads. So let's take some of these turquoise ones. So I'm going to use a small silver metal bead at the bottom. And I really like these teardrop shapes. So I'm going to add one of those and then another silver bead. And then, let's see, maybe one of these. Oh, maybe one of these then. And just play around with it until I find what I like. Maybe let's do a pearl. Okay. Uh-oh. I'm going to add a pearl here. You can see what it looks like without bead caps. And then I'll show you how it looks with them. I don't always use them because sometimes I think they're not necessary, like in this case. I don't think it's necessary to have bead caps, so I'm going to continue the pattern by adding another silver bead. And then, as you can see, if I add another teardrop shape, it's too much. So maybe let's find a smaller bead to go at the top. And then I'm just going to snip the end. Once again, hold the end of the wire as you are holding the beads down and make your loop. And then you want to pinch it closed so that it's nice and secure. And then you are going to, I have got butterfingers today. Add your jump ring. And then pick a place on your chain, attach the jump ring, and close it shut. And there I've added another charm. Okay, I'll do one more, and this time I'm going to use the wire with the looped end. And so I need to figure out what I want to add to this. So I have these little stars, and they have a lobster claw on them. But I want to add it to the end of here. So what I'm going to do is unhook this itty bitty jump ring and take the charm. Whoops. I'm going to detach, actually I'm going to detach the lobster claw and keep that little jump ring on here. I'm telling you, butterfingers, I cannot. Okay, let's try the tweezers, because you see how small this is. Okay, just going to take that off of the lobster claw. And then I'm going to take that jump ring, attach it to that loop, and put the star back on. Grab my pliers and close that jump ring back. Okay, so now that is the purpose of the little loops down here. And you don't have to add a charm, you can add a bead. Like if you have a really pretty bead that you like. So I'm going to add one of these teal seed beads, and I believe I want to use, let's get one of these pretty iridescent glass beads. And I think I am going to use the bead caps for this one. It's got sort of a teardrop shape. It's really pretty. Put another bead cap on the top. Add another seed bead. Okay, I think I want to add, let's find something pretty for the center. No, let's go with something light. Yeah, I think I like this, but let's go with the smaller one. Maybe. Try this one. No, I don't really care for that one. Let's try a pearl. Let's try a white pearl. Yeah, like that. And so to cap it off, I'm just going to add one more of the teal seed beads, and there you have it. So I'm going to go down about 1/4 of an inch, clip the excess of the wire off. I'm going to, see, I'm placing my finger down at the bottom and I'm pushing them all the way to the bottom as I fold over my loop. Squeeze it shut and secure. There you go. And I'm going to grab a jump ring, open it up, push it through that loop, and then I'm going to add it to my chain somewhere. And that is basically it for the beaded charms that I make. Okay, I'll be back with part 2. Bye!